In this session, we are going to explore creating groups and assigning content to those groups. Let's take a look in the iLearn platform. When you are within your course shell, if you go to the course admin, this is where the groups tool lives. Click on groups. And now we have this new category option. The reason why groups exist within categories, and again, it's an organizational structure, is because you can have simultaneous groups coexisting at the same time. Which means, in thinking about your traditional classroom, you may have groups set up for a research project that your students are conducting, while also having groups that students participate in for their reading or their math levels. You also may have groups of students that are sitting in your classroom that are special education or ENL students that may need further supports. So this is where groups come into play, where you can assign work or assignments to a specific group at one time. So let's figure out how to do this tool. So if you click on New Category, okay, I'm going to title my category Reading. Notice I have this full HTML editor here. I don't have to put anything in here, but it is available. Okay, this tool is also very, very flexible. So there are 7 different types of groups that you can create. The number of groups, no auto enrollments, is when you as the teacher want to put select students into each of these groups. The groups of number and number of groups is when Brightspace will randomly select students for each of those groups. Self-enrollment groups, so these 3 down here, means that students can enroll themselves into a group, and then you as the teacher have the ability to set it that once a student is within a group, they cannot remove themselves and put themselves into another group. The last group type, the single user member specific group, means that a teacher could create a workspace for individual students that only that student and you as the teacher will be able to work on. So perhaps a discussion forum may be a great place that students could ask questions and you would have a group with that student and yourself. The group prefix has to do with, do you want it to be called like under the reading category? Do you want it to be group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Or would you prefer it to say reading? For me, I like the idea of having it marked as the same as the title of my categories. I also have this number here that I can decide how many students, how many groups of students do I want. So for my reading groups, I want 5 groups. Okay. And down here, you can create workspaces for your students for each of those groups. But you could also do this later on, depending on how your workflow is and what the setup would look like. That would determine which place would be better. So if you were setting up individual member-specific groups, setting up a discussion area here would be the easier option. Or if you definitely knew that you wanted the students to have a discussion forum, you could set it up in the groups channel. Okay. So I'm going to click Save. Okay, and now notice my groups live right here. And notice because I put that prefix, I have my 5 reading groups, and then my groups are entitled Reading 1, Reading 2, and so forth. Currently, I have 0 students assigned to any of my groups because they were, the group selection I chose was that I, as the teacher, was going to enroll students. So let's take a look at how we would do that. If I simply click on the name Reading 1, right here at the top, I can enroll users. And now my class list, now this is just a demo class, so there's only a few students, but your entire class list would be listed here. And I could simply check mark who I'd like to be part of that group. And then I would click Save. Okay. And then when I go into my Reading 2, I can do the same thing. Click on Enroll Users. Okay, and click Save. Okay. Now when I go into my content tool, if I want to assign specific content to that student, okay, maybe this game is something that I only want the students in a particular reading group to see. I can click on these three dots here, and Groups tool to apply it to a group is a release condition. And I'm going to create a release condition. And the group enrollment is under the class list category. So I'm going to click on group enrollment, and then it's going to prompt my groups. Now, if I had multiple groups existing, they would just be all listed here. So I'm going to assign this to reading 1. I'm going to create. And then once it's created, I need to click on this save at the bottom. And what you will see now is that this is visible only if the conditions are met. And the condition being that the student is member of group reading 1. If you have any further questions, please visit our website at iLearnNYCDOE.org. Thank you.